So what is aquaphilia?
For some people, it is just like being wet, feeling the water. For others, it's a breath play thing. For me, I've always loved the water. I love diving. I love being in the ocean. I love anything to do with the water.
When did you discover this about yourself?
I saw a photo of underwater photography in a gallery, and I thought it was just like the most beautiful thing. Like it looked like a painting, but it was photo. That's kind of like the unique properties of water is you can make something look really painterly and dreamlike. And then I had also been doing OnlyFans, and I also got into doing rope work like shibari and bondage, and I really loved that. And I think I kind of loved certain aspects of that kind of overlapped with the sensation of being underwater, like the lack of control and the sensory deprivation. And so one day I just had this crazy idea, like I love bondage and I love being underwater, so why don't I do bondage underwater? And then someone reached out and asked if I would shoot a custom video for them of me pretending to almost drown. And I did. And then that kind of just like it took off. I started to get like a lot of requests to do drowning videos or different perilous situations underwater.
For the requests that you get in that regard, is it about the water for those, or is it more about the situation that somebody is in danger, or however you want to phrase that?
I think it's both. I think so, like in the fetish world, damsel in distress or peril are both really popular fetishes. And I think being underwater adds a whole other element of extra danger because you don't have to be tied up underwater for it to still be dangerous.
So when I watch more mainstream stuff, right? Like there's certain things that I am looking for. Like I'm looking for that in the things that I watch. Are there things that people in this genre that they're looking for that?
Yeah. So sometimes I will just get requests for breath hold videos. Specifically the underwater ones. Sometimes they just want to see me hold my breath. Like they don't want any kind of like danger element or anything traditionally sexual happening. Sometimes they just want to watch me sit there about framed up about like this, just holding my breath underwater. Um, And with those ones, I also like to see the contractions. So when you're holding your breath for an extended period of time, once you get past the initial urge to breathe, so like the average person holds their breath for maybe 30 seconds, 30 to 50 seconds, they'll get the urge to breathe and they'll breathe. If you push past that point, your diaphragm starts to involuntarily contract, trying to force your body to breathe. And you can actually see that like on your stomach. And so some of those videos where just a breath holding video, they want to see the contractions happening. There's other people that specifically like the peril and the danger, the struggling and the screaming and the panic, like the panic underwater. And I some of those I think a lot of those like stem from like movies that they saw or I know a couple who've had like real life near drowning experiences and they don't even like being in the water, but watching it is exciting, or it could even be a form of therapy, like exposure therapy, maybe. And then other things that people like underwater, they like the long hair flowing, they like the whole mermaid thing. That's a whole subgenre of mermaids. Bikinis, like bikinis, people like wetsuits, people like the look of a dive mask, the way it changed your face.
I get the idea of it. I guess the thing that I don't quite understand is like, but what about the water is sexual?
I don't think it's water itself that's sexual. I think it's the effect it has on the body, specifically with breath holding. I mean, and like just tactile, like the feel, like you feel weightless and luxurious and sensual underwater. Like, I mean, like taking a warm bath can be a sensual experience. Going for skinny dipping can be a sensual, like sensory experience. But I think it's ties in mostly to the lack of oxygen and the breath holding aspect.
Would you say, are there other kinks slash fetishes slash whatever that go along with it that are outside of the water? Like, oh, if they're going to like this, they're going to probably also like this that is not related to water.
Spandex, swimsuit fetish. I mean, I've done videos where I'm just laying in my bed in dive gear, not in the water, but I'm wearing all the underwater gear. Peril, damsel in distress, various aspects of BDSM, the whole like power dynamic and control and giving up control. But I think probably the most closely related would be breath play.
Have you ever had an incident that's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that?
I did do a self-bondage underwater where I was chained to a like 50-pound dumbbell at the bottom of the pool. And I don't do it by myself. Whenever I'm filming underwater, like, disclaimer, like, I have someone there as safety because it only takes one mistake to die. So I don't want to do that. So, but I did have a scare where I tried to make it like quick release the chain, and so it was cuffed. I was chained, cuffed, my ankles were cuffed together, and I was like a couple inches right below the surface where I couldn't, breathe. And I went down to unhook my chain, and it like got stuck. But I used like a cheap, like thin chain with like a cheap latch, and I was able to just like yank it and break it. And also I was close enough to the surface where if I gave like one big like push, I could get my mouth out of the water to breathe if I had to. But there was that like moment of panic, like, oh shit, like this isn't coming undone as easily as it could, and I need to breathe now. But it was totally fine.
Are you ready for some harder slash listener submitted questions?
Yeah.
Does the type of water matter? Are people more interested in like a pool versus a stream or a lake versus a brook, a river? I could go on with all the various bodies of water if you want me to.
I think probably realistically, like logistically, it's hard to get anything in a natural body of water.
They want it, but just logistically, you can't really do it.
Yeah. So I had like for example, one of my favorite custom videos I did actually, it was the scene was I was a free diver diving for treasure in like a lagoon or something, or the ocean, and just like logistically with all the props I would need, and trying to team up with someone to film me and someone to be safety, just doing it in a pool made more sense.
Have you ever had somebody that the body of water really mattered to them? Like, no, that's an inland sea, and I was looking for a fjord or whatever. Like, I don't, that's...
Yeah, I had one request where that was the main point of the video, was being in the open ocean with a current that would carry away my clothes.
How popular would you say this is?
It's definitely one of the smaller, like lesser known fetishes. I would say it's probably getting a little bit more popular, but it's definitely a small niche.
What is mask off, mask on?
So, like a popular drill in diving, free diving or scuba diving, is filling and purging your mask. So if your mask fills with water, you don't panic. You know how to like purge it. So I've done videos where I do that. Like I'm wearing my mask and I let water in, let it fill with water, and then I put it back on, and then I blow air out of my nose till the water goes out. People like that. And also, yeah, starting with the mask on, so you have that like comfortability and safety of the mask, and then taking it off underwater. I've done that. Some people just specifically like the look of a dive mask, and they want the mask on the whole time, and while other people like the look of no dive mask, and they know the feeling, the sensations of being underwater without a mask, and like how uncomfortable that can be. So they prefer that.
Is it ever in, again, I'll use this word, I don't mean this word, but does it ever go into kind of the more normal stuff? It's like, I just want to see somebody do their thing in a hot tub.
Oh yeah, for sure. My most popular selling video is just like normal boy girl, you know, porn just in the water, underwater.
Yeah, that's the thing is like logistically that seems kind of difficult. Like you're both going to be underwater. Like
Yeah.
that's the part of me like how do you do this logistically?
Yeah.
You just go down for like 10, 15 seconds, pop back up, go back down, pop back up. Like that seems like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work and it is a lot of up and down, and so filming it, I am kind of like, I don't want to like make any like of my fans sad or whatever, but it is kind of like a okay, like okay, ready, we're gonna go under, I'm gonna eat your pussy, and then we're gonna come up and breathe really quick, and it's very like there's a lot of talking. It's not like a genuine feverish like thing happening organically.
Right, because you can't. Like the thing that I would think of is two people just kind of going at it,
Yeah.
but then you got to take a break and
Yeah.
get some
There's
air.
a lot of timing involved. Unless you're on scuba, then you can just go at it.
Is mermaids part of this, or is this a whole? Oh, that's a whole other thing.
Mermaids are part of it, but they're also their own thing.
What's the appeal of the mermaid? That's just
The mysticalness, the mermaids. I mean, I've done both. So like mermaids are often like the siren dragging the sailors to their doom kind of thing. So there's that aspect, and there's also like capturing a mermaid. So I've done a few videos where I'm a captured, like captive mermaid.
what is your most common request?
Drowning, usually.
Do they want it just to go like right up to the limit, or no, they want you to act like you have drowned? Because to me, those are two different, like, that's a little different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I definitely have had questions about these types of fetishes, because there's also like death fetish, like that's a thing. That's not allowed to be sold on most platforms, but it is a thing. And I've done some like on dry land where after I was done, I was like, I feel weird about that. But the drowning ones specifically, I don't know if it's just because I just like playing in the water, so I'll do anything in the water. But it doesn't like unsettle me as much as just normal death fetish stuff does. And I think it's also because the people that have asked me to do these drowning videos, they're not like, oh, I really want to see the light drain from your eyes and I want to see you suffer.
they're not super strange about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like they're putting themselves in my shoes. Like they're imagining that that they're the one drowning or almost drowning.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're not thinking of you doing this, they're thinking of themselves doing this.
Yeah. Or doing it with me.
Your most interesting one, like one that you're like, oh, I have not gotten that before.
The one I mentioned earlier, the freediver diving for treasure, part of that video was a peril clip. So I was diving for treasure, and there's a giant snake guarding the treasure that attacks me and tries to drown me. That was the first time I'd ever gotten anything like that, and I haven't gotten anything like that since. That was super fun. So I had a giant toy snake that I attached fishing line to and dragged it around the pool and wrapped it around me, and like I'm wrestling it and it's trying to drag me to my doom. But I survived that one. I escaped that one. A lot of the drowning ones I end up drowning, but they're more like it's like more of a like letting go, like surrendering to the pleasure. Like you're so lost in pleasure, you just lose all control and forget to breathe.
Yeah, that to me, I get that, right? Like that's completely different than like ending. That's more just like I have accepted the circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's kind of the next evolution of it? Do you see it going somewhere else?
Like there are, like dungeons and like sex clubs and sex parties and things like that where you can do stuff in real life. It'd be interesting to see like an underwater version of that done safely.
That's all the questions that I have. Is there anything you think that we missed, or?
Oh, I did kind of want to touch on like the whole peril and fear and like
Yeah.
danger of it all. I like to kind of compare it to like enjoying horror movies and roller coasters. Like sometimes being scared is fun. The like pleasure centers and fear centers of the brain are very intermingled, very close together. And so I think that's where kind of a lot of it stems from, especially like all the drowning stuff.